Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back. Welcome back to Let's Talk NBA with Rick Manarino. You all know I love the NFL and what goes on in the NFL and those great shows that I had this NFL season. It was a great NFL season, but this is my prime time. Prime time. Mr. Deion Sanders, prime time. I love NBA. I love NBA. I was thinking this morning on the way over to the studio, we got 23 games left. It is post All-Star break. It's time to get started, and I was thinking about the great guy who introduces in the big UFC fights, Bruce Buffer, and he always, before the big event, he always starts out, "It's time!" Anyways, it's time, NBA. And what I mean by that is, there's a lot of teams that we thought would be good this year in the NBA, we thought would be relevant, we thought would be successful. They're fighting to get playoff spots, and we're going to talk about that today. We're going to talk about what I think is going to happen in the last 23, 24, 25 games. Everybody's kind of around that range. But, All-Star break is over. The week is over. Everybody got their rest. The All-Star, the big event, the NBA All-Star game is more fanfare than any All-Star game. That is their major event of the year. I thought it really was a weak event this year. It was great to see the game. The game was good, and, of course, True to Hollywood script, LeBron James wins the game, goes back to Cleveland and wins the All-Star game on a little turnaround, about 10-footer, to win the game over the East, his West squad. And it was a fun game this year. I really enjoyed the game, particularly the fourth quarter. That was a lot of fun. And the talent in the NBA, I got to tell you, you people that watch NBA and enjoy it, if you don't watch it often, you got to really start tuning in. There's 2-3 games every night. You can catch a game every night. And I was telling somebody this morning, I've been kind of bored because I have had no NBA for a week. Every night I'll sit down about 5 o'clock West Coast time and start watching games, and I just enjoy it. And then I'll take a break for dinner and turn it off, and then I'll pick it up to 7:30, 8 o'clock games. And I just love watching the NBA, the talent, the back and forth, teams way down to come back. I never seen teams come back the way they do in the NBA, down 20, 25 points. It's just a great league with a lot of talent. But I want to talk about the All-Star game for a minute. And what I want to talk about is the Saturday night big event that they have. They had the skills contest, which I thought was just so weak. And in the obstacle course, it just, and they had the wrong guys in there. It just wasn't. It didn't own up to what it was supposed to be. But the slam dunk contest, that was the worst by far slam dunk contest they ever had. They got first and second year guys in there. They don't have the really true greatest dunkers in there. For some reason, they didn't want to dunk this year. But that group they had was so weak. Couple rookies, couple second year guys. Come on. A few of them aren't even good ball players. So that was a terrible event. But I have to say the three-point contest was great. Karl Anthony Towns, kudos to you, man. To be the size that you are, to be a big man, to be shooting threes like that and to win that contest. It's the first time since Kevin Love did it many, many years ago that a big man won the three-point contest. And, man, that was so awesome to watch, Karl Anthony. And you're a good player, and you really carry that Minnesota team. And that's a nice team you got with Anthony over there, who's another young man who's a good ball player, first-round draft choice a couple years ago. But it was fun to watch, and a lot of you, I don't know if you know Karl Anthony Towns' story, but he lost like 7 family members at the outset of the pandemic, and he actually lost his mother. And I'd actually seen them on a show together a couple months before that, and I was just so saddened for the young man that he lost his mother, who was very young to COVID, and he lost some additional family members. But for the guy to work on his mental health and to continue to use basketball as his resource to get through it and to go out and help others. And he's just an all-around good guy. He's one of my favorite guys in the NBA. So if you haven't watched Karl Anthony play, Mr. Towns, he's a young man. I think he's only 23 or 24 years old. He was a great player at Kentucky. He was at Kentucky, University of Kentucky. Just a great player. But that was my highlight of the All-Star game, to see him go out there and win the three-point contest against Steph Curry and, these other guards. So, really, really nice. But to me, that was the highlight of the weekend. The game was pretty good. There's so much talent. Guys like Ja Morant are just spectacular players. And to watch the big men like Giannis and Embiid and Jokic, those guys are so talented for their size. around the basket. Just so talented. But here we are, NBA. This is really, last week I talked about it a little bit, and it was right before All-Star break, and it wasn't a lot to talk about, but I'm just so happy to be back with NBA. And again, Let's Talk NBA will be on every week starting now, and I look forward to being your friend through the playoffs and talking about it. And last week we talked about betting angles. I'm really not going to talk about that this week. Watch last week's show. I just want to talk about what's going on in the NBA. Again, All-Star break was fun, and here we go. Actually, tonight being Thursday night, we film this show on Thursdays. It airs for you early Friday morning. So be looking for it. Thanks for the likes. Continue to watch the shows. I hope that a lot of you pick up this NBA show. Again, I love it. Most people love NFL so much, and the ability to gamble and all the parlays. And I tell you, I really love NBA. And again, there's money to be made there, and we'll talk about that more. Anyways, what's going to happen here? We've got 23 games. Like I said, with famous Bruce Buffer, it's time. It's time. You better start playing ball. What are the teams like the Lakers going to do? Are they going to get in the playoff hunt? Are they going to get above the 7th spot? Because if you're in 7, 8, 9, 10, you're going to be you are going to be in a one play-in game. You got to win a play-in game, and then you got to win one more just to make the playoffs, to get to one of the top spots, to get in those 8 top spots. You got to play hard to get there. And I look at teams. I wrote a few down. Lakers, Brooklyn. Is Brooklyn going to do it? We understand that Mr. Kevin Durant is going to be back within the next couple of days. They need him. They picked up Dragic, Goran Dragic, who's been a great shooter and a great floor leader in Miami for many years. Good player, but he's 35 years old. Is he going to help them now? I understand that they're going to drop the need to have a vaccination to go anywhere to be able to go to events in New York. I understand that within the next week they're going to drop that mandate, and that you're going to be able to move around if you don't have the shot. So I guess Irving is going to get to play. Is Ben Simmons going to step up with them in Brooklyn? That's a pretty tough team. If you got those 3 guys playing and they're playing well, I don't know if Simmons is physically and mentally healthy. Kyrie Irving's always good. Whenever he plays well. He's a good ball player. He really is a good ball player. He's a real individual that follows his own creed. And he sticks to that, and, I commend him for that. But, of course, the key is Kevin Durant. I think he's the best player in the NBA when he's healthy. It's my opinion. I think he's the MVP of the league when he's healthy. He hasn't been healthy. So is Brooklyn going to get there? Are the Lakers going to get there? What are they going to do? Anthony Davis is out another 4 weeks, hurt that foot, sprained that foot. Now you got LeBron running the show again with Westbrook, and Carmelo Anthony's been in and out of the lineup with a bad hamstring. What are the Lakers going to do? It's LeBron and a cast of average basketball players. Monk's been pretty good, but I still think that's going to be a problem, and they're probably going to end up in a play-in game, and I don't think the Lakers have much of a future this year. They probably should start unloading guys. There's rumors that LeBron's going back to Cleveland. It ain't happening. Clippers, what are they going to do? Is Paul George coming back? We know Leonard's not coming back. I mean, this whole year is a wash. He collected a whole lot of money, millions upon millions. Probably didn't really rehab that hard. He's been out for almost a year. He's not coming back, but Paul George supposedly is coming back. He's had a bad wrist. Are the Clippers going to come back around? I mean, Reggie Jackson has been a beast, man. That guy has led that Clipper team. I've seen them play. Batum, over an older guy, has come around playing good ball. Morris, Sr., I really like the Clippers. If you haven't watched the Clippers, they hustle every single night. The Clippers are that team that hustles every night. Another team, Denver. What's Denver going to do? They got a lot of injuries. They keep saying that Porter and Murray are going to be back. Two of their stars. Murray for sure. Porter, an upcoming young player. But he was really coming around this year until he hurt his back. Are they going to be back? Is Denver going to get back in it? You can't just do it with Jokic and again, a cast of characters. Though they've played better than the Lakers, you can't count on one guy to be the man all the time. You really can't. Another team, Atlanta, just hasn't gotten over that hump this year. Last year they made that playoff run. They beat the Knicks. They played very, very well, the Hawks, led by Trae Young. What are they going to do? Is Atlanta going to get up and get it going? I think the Knicks, again, a playoff team last year, we thought would be a lot better this year. Again, the Knicks don't have enough. They go as Julius Randle goes. Do they have enough? I don't know. But when I look at teams like Lakers, Brooklyn, Clippers, Denver, Atlanta, those were teams that were supposed to be good this year. We're supposed to be in the hunt. We're supposed to be in top 4. Really haven't stood up to the test. A lot of injuries. As we know, the NBA is full of injuries, and we're going to talk about a couple injuries in a minute. But the NBA is just smitten with this, just injury after injury after injury, and it really has hurt. It has really hurt the efforts of a lot of teams, and teams get on a run, and all of a sudden, it's just like if Memphis lost John Morant. They seem to play pretty well without him. I mean, there's a team, again, that hustles. They got a great coach over there, a great young coach. Memphis just continues to stand the test of time with injuries and everything else. So we'll see what happens. But those were the teams that came to mind. And, I might even throw Milwaukee in there. Milwaukee's playing around 500. I think, they're in the 6th spot. If you're not in that top 4 spot, I'll tell you what, you are not going to have a shot at winning the NBA title. In the West and the East, if you're not one of those top 4 teams, I think anybody in the top 4 in the East and the West can win it. I think that in the end we're going to be surprised who's in the NBA Finals this year. I don't believe it's going to be Milwaukee again. I don't believe it. I don't believe that it's going to be Phoenix for sure. But it's great in that the NBA is wide open this year. Of course. Phoenix 48-10 ball club has been the superior team, the consistent team. When there's been injuries, they've overcome them. They've played well. Again, Monty Williams is a great coach. He's doing a super job over there. His players love him. He's a good coach. He's got a great staff behind him. But wait a minute. Hold up. If you haven't heard the news yet, Chris Paul broke his thumb in the last game before the All-Star break. Chris Paul is out for about 6 to 8 weeks. Well, that takes us to the end of the season. What are they going to do in Phoenix? Chris Paul is the floor general. They got a lot of talent in Phoenix. Booker's got to take over. Ayton's got to take over. Those are the guys that are going to have to lead now. Is Booker capable of leading? Is Booker capable of getting those guys on his back and going? Is he a Chris Paul type? He's not a Chris Paul type. But has he learned his lessons enough? Has he learned enough from Chris Paul, Monty Williams, to take over that team? I'm curious to think. Let me know. What do you think? What do you think about Phoenix now that Chris Paul is out? Are they going to falter? Golden State. Phoenix is by far right now the leader in the West. Golden State is powering up, my friends. Golden State is powering up. They got, of course, Clay is getting better every game he plays. He looks a lot better right now. The first couple of weeks it was rough on Klay Thompson, but 2.5 years out, we would understand it, but he's playing better ball. Of course, Steph Curry. Again, let me go back to the All-Star game for a minute. Steph Curry, you're unbelievable. 18 threes and 50 points. Unbelievable game, Steph. You are truly the best shooter ever. Ray Allen's right in there as far as it goes for three-pointers, but you are the man, Steph. Great game, and, of course, you were MVP. So is Golden State going to get there? They're saying that Wiseman's going to be back. That will really help them. That young man in the middle who got hurt last year, James Wiseman, very good player. Looney is not enough in the middle, I believe, for that team to win the championship. So if they can get, Clay to stay healthy and the rest of the team to get Draymond Green back. Draymond's been out a long time. Golden State really gets a lot of energy from Draymond, as you all know. So the funny thing about it is I look at the next 23 games coming up, that's 5 or 6 weeks. The end of the season, really, the All-Star break was very late this year. In the West, I'm just going to have to hang my star on Golden State. I think that they can get a couple of those guys back, and they can get Draymond back, which they will. They nurse their injuries to the max in the NBA. It's not like the NFL. There's 16 games, 17 games in a playoff. In the NFL, you got to get back. I mean, if you miss 6 or 7 games, it's forever. In the NBA, if you miss 6 or 7 games, it's not that big of a deal. So teams are going to get their guys back. They've been nursing them. And again, it's time. There's 23 games left. It's going to be a lot of fun down the stretch. I tell you what, the bets to make are these teams that are trying to get back in this race and know they got to get back in the race for a playoff spot. Teams are going to be playing real hard now, and guys that have been injured are going to get back in the lineup. I got to hang my star on Golden State. And then, you look at teams like Utah in the West. Utah's a very good basketball team, but again, I'll go back to the same thing. Do they have enough? They appear to me to be a very good basketball team. Now, they traded Ingles off, and they picked up a couple of guys that are going to help them, but does Utah have enough? You know what? I think this year they do. And I would not be surprised if Utah contends for the title. I think this just might be their year. And again, a great coach. I look at these teams that are at the top. They got good coaches, real good coaches. And I look at that. I think it's very important. Does Denver have enough? I don't think Denver has enough to make it. I just don't think they're going to get enough people back, and it's going to have enough time. I just don't think Denver is going to have enough to get there. How about Memphis? Is Memphis good enough? Are they good enough? Do they have enough players? Can they get there with Ja and again, a lot of pretty good players? That Bain kid is very good. But they got some pretty good players in Memphis. Do they have enough? I don't think it's their time yet. When you talk about it's time, I don't think it's time, but they're getting better. Wouldn't surprise me if they win a couple rounds. Denver again, they're in the same boat as Memphis. I think that those are two teams that would battle it out, and I couldn't tell you who was going to win that series. It depends how you defend Jokic in the middle. But my three top teams in the West would be Phoenix, Golden State, and Utah. I believe one of those three will make it to the finals. At this point, I'm going to go out on a limb and say Golden State is going to be the team from the West in the championship this year. Again, I say this over and over. Health plays such a big role in what's going to happen. And guys this year just seem to get hurt a lot in the NBA. A lot of injuries, a lot of tough injuries. You move over to the East, and it's such a mishmash because if Brooklyn can get Durant back and he's healthy, if they can get some more health, they can get Ben Simmons to play. They could be pretty good. Those three guys are good players. Simmons is great on the defensive end, particularly, and a good down low player. He's not a great outside shooter, and we know he can't shoot free throws, but I can't help but think Brooklyn's going to be there. I tell you the most intriguing in the East for me, the team that is most intriguing is that Boston team. Brown is playing just incredible ball this year. And, of course, Tatum is always great. Smart's a great player. They got a pretty good little team. They hit the three. Boston has been playing really good ball the last month of the season. They started very weak. Is Boston going to do it this year? Do they have enough? I still think they're a little short. I still think Boston's a little short. Another team that intrigues me, two teams that intrigue me more than anybody in the NBA East. The other team that really intrigues me is Toronto. They've played very good basketball. They're a capable team. They got some nice players. Again, very well coached by Nick Nurse. They've been there to the finals. They've got pretty much the core of that team, other than Leonard. They've picked up this young kid, Scotty Brooks, a rookie. What an addition to that team. That kid is really averaging, 17, 18, 19 points a game. And he's been a really good addition to the team as a rookie. So Toronto intrigues me. Boston intrigues me. I love watching them both. I love watching Memphis in the West, of course. Do they have enough? Does Boston or Toronto have enough? You know what? In the East, I think everybody has enough. And I'll list a few teams that I think can all win it and be in the championship. Be in the championship. I believe Golden State's going to win it all this year. Again, I don't think the Lakers and Clippers are going to make that run. I keep waiting for the Clippers to wake up. I keep waiting for the Lakers to wake up, and they continue to be below 500 teams. I think the Clippers are one game over 500. The Lakers are 4 games under 500. I look at, in the East, you got Miami. You got Boston. You got Milwaukee. You got Chicago. You got Toronto. I think Atlanta's too far back. I mean, any of those teams could win it. Miami's on top right now. Miami leads the Eastern Division. I just don't know, again, does Miami have enough? Again, so well coached. Eric Spoelstra, and it's funny, I keep talking about these teams that are well coached, and they happen to be at the top. Isn't it funny? In the NBA, coaching and strategy is very important. I will tell you this, it's very important. Good NBA coaches win big games, particularly during playoff time. Everything changes at playoffs. Defense picks up, of course, and guys just play a lot better. The stars step up. I keep waiting for Milwaukee. When you're going to make your move? When you're going to win 7, 8, 9, 10 games in a row? They haven't done that. Milwaukee hovers around the 500 mark. I know we've had guys in and out of the lineup. I know we've had a lot of injuries, but you still got your big three there. You still got Giannis. You still got Holiday. You still got Middleton. You got some good backups. DiVincenzo. You got some good players over there in Milwaukee. I just don't see it. I really don't see Milwaukee making that push. And again, don't get me wrong. To watch Giannis is a joy. I mean, that guy is just an incredible basketball player. He is really, really, really good. Can it be Brooklyn? I mean, Brooklyn. Can Brooklyn do it? Does Philadelphia have enough with Harden now? I mean, it is so wide open in the East. Think about it. You've got Brooklyn. You've got Boston. You've got Philadelphia. You've got Milwaukee. Chicago, I haven't talked about Chicago yet. Chicago, I tell you, DeMar DeRozan, man, you have had an MVP year. I've been a fan of yours since the days of you were at USC, watching you play basketball at USC and being a star. And played well in Toronto and well in San Antonio, but DeRozan has never played. He found a home with Billy Donovan over there. Again, another great coach in Chicago. Chicago keeps surprising people. Chicago keeps winning. But is it, in the end, is it going to be a Brooklyn or Philadelphia? Are these additions going to do it for them? Brooklyn on their best day, I think, is going to be tough to beat. I think Philadelphia now that with Harden in there, and if he can play nice with everybody and he can play nice with Embiid, I just think that Philadelphia could do it this year. Embiid's having an MVP year. It's going to be interesting to see who wins the MVP this year, by the way. There's 4 or 5 of them right there. Embiid, of course, Giannis, John Morant is right there. DeRozan is right there. It's some guys are playing really. Jokic is right there. Some guys are really playing great basketball. I'm going to be interested to see who wins the MVP this year. But the Eastern Conference, man, I mean, I'm having trouble picking it. I mean, all those teams that I just mentioned, and I just, like I said, I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued by Toronto and Boston. I think that if they get a couple of breaks, if they get a buyout on somebody's contract that they can bring in, somebody buys out their contract with one of these big teams that aren't going to go anywhere, Toronto or Boston could do something. And I'm going to continue to watch them, but I think they're short. I think Chicago doesn't have enough. When I say they're short, I don't mean they're short in stature. I mean that they're just a little short in the right group of players, the right combination, the right flow. So, I look at Chicago, Boston, Toronto. It's going to be tough. Again, Brooklyn, if they can get it together, is going to be tough. Philly, if they can get it together with Harden, is going to be tough. Milwaukee, I just can't see them finding their way. There's something about Milwaukee this year that I see them lose games that they should win, and I just see them. Milwaukee struggles a lot this year. They have struggled a lot this year. They brought Wesley Matthews back. Like, that's really going to help them. Wesley Matthews did nothing with the Lakers last year. Did you know Wesley Matthews was on the Lakers last year? Well, he's back in Milwaukee, and he's playing a lot, and maybe he can step up for them and play some good ball. But, again, they got the big three over there, and I believe you need the big three in any team to be great. You need a healthy big three to be your leaders, and, Milwaukee's got that. Boston, again, maybe a little short on that. But, Philadelphia has that with Harden there now. Philadelphia has that. I'm really been impressed by Embiid this year. But NBA is so much fun. And if you're not watching it, I'll tell you, it is an incredible game. A lot of fun, a lot of great games. Start watching it this time of year. There's games on every night. It's either NBA TV, it's TNT, it's Channel 13, what would you call that? ABC, I guess, it's different for everybody. ABC. And then you've got, of course, ESPN that has games. But every night on, an NBA TV, just like NFL TV, they do a great job of keeping you in tuned on games. They have this show, and I don't know how many of you watch NBA TV or have that on your TVs. But NBA TV is great in that they may not necessarily be showing games, any specific game. They show a lot of live look-ins in several games, and they keep you up to date on scores. There may be 11, 13 games. There's a lot of games some nights, and they will have it all up there for you. And they got great analysts. I mean, really great guys like Greg Anthony. They're really good. They got a really good crew at NBA TV. And it's fun to watch. So a lot of nights I'll just watch NBA TV, and as games are getting close to being done, the first set of games, I'll sit there and I'll watch all the live look-ins for the last 5 minutes of games. And, of course, I'll have a bet on a few of them, and then I sit there a little bit too intense sometimes, like, oh, my God, it's a point-to-point thing. But it's fun betting on the NBA. I missed it. It was a week off. You know, the All-Star game's always fun, but it was a week off of competition. I missed it. There wasn't much else that I wanted to watch other than NBA. I'm glad it's back. We're going to make a big push. We're going to make a big push now. Watch your team closely. Watch your team. Watch who's getting healthy. Watch who is guys that aren't playing well are going to decide to play well. I think the biggest mover is going to be Golden State. I think Draymond is very close to being back. Wiseman is very close to being back. Clay's getting healthy. They've had a good cast of guys. I mean, that kid Poole has been a real savior for them this year. He has played very well. And you know, it's interesting. I don't know if you've seen him play. He was starting, and then Clay came back, and they immediately put him on the bench. That kid was playing great ball. Very good ball. A great compliment to that Golden State offense. And they put him on the bench and they bring him in off of the bench now. And I tell you, the kid didn't even complain. He said Klay Thompson has been the man. He's an all-star. He's a for sure Hall of Famer. And he said he had no qualms about him starting. And it's affected Poole a little bit coming off of the bench. But I just think that Golden State's got a lot when they're healthy. I mean, I believe that's the team, and I believe they're going to win it all. I'm just so... like I said, I don't think I think there's only 3 teams in the West that have the possibility of being in the championship. It's either going to be Phoenix, Golden State, or Utah. Memphis just doesn't have enough. Though I love watching them, they're the most exciting team in the league. That team is, man, what a team, man. That is a really good basketball team in Memphis. I don't think they're ready to take it all yet. They may prove me wrong. Last year, Atlanta made a good run. I don't think Atlanta's going to make a good run this year. I don't really mention them with the top guys, you know, in the East. And I've already talked about who I think are the top in the East. But to me, if I had to pick 2 teams for the championship this year, and I really don't have to do this, but I like to go out on a limb like I did in the NFL, said the Rams and Buffalo. And I was halfway right, and the Rams won it all, as that was right about that. But I think Golden State is going to face, oh, my gosh. Oh, man, it's going to be Miami. Does Miami have enough? I'm going to say Golden State and Philadelphia this year. I don't think their coach is good enough. Doc Rivers is an average coach on a good day, in my opinion. When he won it in Boston, he had the players and he had the leaders. Guys like Kevin Garnett were leaders. He needs leadership on his team, and I don't know if Embiid is ready, but I'm going to say Golden State in Philadelphia this year. I'm probably way off because it'll probably be, Miami has a way of surprising people, but a lot of fun. And, it's funny when one of the things that was the highlights of the NBA over the All-Star break was the introduction of the top 75 players of all time. And you can only imagine how tough it is and how certain players like a Carmelo Anthony and a Klay Thompson and several others were upset that they weren't nominated and picked as one of the top 75 of all time. And that's really important with the NBA. They do a fun thing with that. And you saw some of those guys, some of those players of old, it was just amazing to me that the talent that played many years ago. And it was so much fun to see the top 75 and the fun they had and the stories they told. And that was a highlight for me. And kudos to those guys that were on that top 75 team. When you think about how many players have come through the NBA over the years, and it'd be so tough to put a top 75 together. And you could see how joyous the top 75 were to be part of that group, because that's an elite group, man. If you are voted one of the top 75 players in the NBA, just think about the honor of that. And of course, they had the Blazers and the pictures and the introductions. And to me, that was a highlight of the All-Star game, because I've watched a lot of those players. I've seen a lot of them, and it was just an honor. It's been an honor to. NBA is a special animal unto itself. I'm telling you. NFL is great, and Major League Baseball is great, and hockey is great, and all these other sports, Olympics, UFC, are all great. But there's something about the NBA and the talent it takes to shoot the basketball through the hoop, to have that kind of talent, to move that quickly up and down the floor. Something about the NBA that just really, really, really touches my interest, and I love watching it. And that top 75 thing was just, as a fan, was so awesome. Anyways, I hope I've answered your questions on, who you're going to be looking at in this upcoming season. We'll talk more as we get back into playing this week. There were no games, so this is all conjecture of what I think is going to happen. Again, I just don't think the Lakers and Clippers are going to make it. They'll both probably get in the play-in game, but you got to come from too far back to be able to go all the way. I just really feel you got to be in the top four in either division. And, in the West, it's Phoenix, Golden State, Utah, Memphis. Those are your top four. Denver's right below that. Dallas. I didn't talk about Dallas much. What do you want me to say about Dallas? They got one of the best players in the league. What can I say about Dallas? I just don't think they have enough. Again, they got one of the best young players that will ever play the game, and it's an honor to watch. Dallas, I just think in the end is, Luka Doncic is the man. I just don't think he's mature enough and has enough around him to win it. So I really didn't throw Dallas in that group, but I think they're sitting in the number 6 spot. So it may be, Dallas may play well. Dallas may get a playoff win. Some people think they are going to get a playoff win, but I've got to go with my top 4 being Phoenix, Golden State, Memphis, and Utah out of the West. And out of the East, it's probably going to be Philadelphia and Brooklyn and Miami, Chicago, Boston. I mean, there's a whole bunch of them can be in there. I really can't give you a top 4 yet. There's about 7 or 8 of them over in the East, but it's going to be fun. Enjoy it down the stretch. Enjoy the big games. Every Saturday night they got a great game on ABC. Always shows a great game. I think it's about 8:30 East Coast time, 5:30 West Coast time. Those games are fun on Saturday nights. There's going to be a lot more basketball. Watch NBA TV. Number one, it's a great education. If you want to learn about the NBA and how to bet on it and the stars of the past, guys like Dennis Scott, they're so knowledgeable to watch. It's just such a pleasure to watch those shows. And of course, TNT, award-winning TNT, has got some really, really, really good guys, and they've got a show on Tuesday and a show on Thursday. That's a great cast of characters. So continue to enjoy the NBA. You can watch a game every night. That's up to you what you do. But the main thing is, this show wouldn't have a possibility of being here without you, the viewer. I want to thank you all for watching the show, liking it, being part of it. I would wish that you comment more. Again, I'm looking for a co-host. I've thrown that out there. I've had a couple of co-hosts. I had my friend Jack for many years, as you know. He's gone on to do other things, and we wish him well. I'm looking for a great co-host. I can do it via Zoom, anything you want. Make the comment, get a hold of me, get a hold of us at WWDBTV. Just check in with John Stiles at any time. John produces the show. He does the incredible job of producing our shows here. And if you want to shoot him a note and say you'd be interested in being my co-host, or shoot me a note, again, in the comment bracket. Watch us on YouTube. Watch us at WWTV. We're on Roku TV. Look for us. We're out there. It's great shows. I'm doing it by myself now. To be honest with you, I rather enjoy it. I'll have some guest hosts in, a couple of ex-NBA players over time. But right now, I'm happy to be doing it. I hope I've given you some knowledge. I hope I've been clear and concise on what I think. I hope I've thrown your team into the mix. And again, I didn't say a lot about Dallas today, but Luka Doncic. That's all I can say. Hardaway Jr. is hurt. He's out for the year. I'm just not that warm and fuzzy about Dallas, and nothing against them. I mean, they're a great team, but there's some others that are so much better in the West. Thanks for watching. Thanks for liking. Thanks for sharing. We love you being part of our team here at WWDBTV. Thanks for watching the show. We got a lot of fun NBA ahead. We'll talk more about betting patterns and ways to go with your gambling. But my main message is God bless you. Stay safe. Thanks for watching. enjoy the last 23, 24 games of the NBA, and before you know it, we'll be in playoffs, and we'll really have a lot of fun. God bless. Thanks for watching. I appreciate you all.